Remember when you had to actually get up to change the TV channel? When calling someone long distance was a big deal that cost real money. When you couldn't just Google something, you had to actually know it or look it up in an encyclopedia. Welcome to 1980. And trust me, it was wilder than you think. Picture this with me for a second. It's Saturday morning, sometime around 9 a.m. You're sitting cross-legged on the shag carpet in your living room. And yes, it's probably orange or avocado green because that's just how the 70s rolled into the 80s. You're eating a bowl of Frosted Flakes, watching cartoons on one of maybe 5 channels you can get. The TV has rabbit ear antennas that you have to adjust just right, and sometimes your dad makes you stand there holding them because that's the only way the picture comes in clear. Your mom's in the kitchen, and you can hear the percolator bubbling. The phone rings, that loud mechanical ring that you can hear from anywhere in the house, and someone actually gets up to answer it because that's the only option. The phone is attached to the wall with a curly cord, and whoever's talking is probably stretching that cord as far as it'll go, trying to get some privacy. This is 1980. This is America at a crossroads. The 70s are barely in the rearview mirror with all their weirdness and malaise, and the 80s, the decade of excess and neon and big hair, haven't really kicked in yet. We're in that strange in-between moment, and life feels different. Not better or worse necessarily. Just different. So let me take you back. Let me show you what it was really like to be alive in America in 1980. The music, the politics, the technology, the fashion, the food, the fears, the hopes, all of it. Because 1980 wasn't that long ago, but it might as well be another planet compared to how we live now. Come on. Let's go back. First, you need to understand where America's head was at in 1980. And honestly, it wasn't great. The country was kind of depressed. The 70s had been rough: Watergate, Vietnam, the oil crisis, stagflation, which is this fun thing where the economy stagnates but prices keep going up anyway. People were tired, disillusioned. The optimism of the 60s felt like a lifetime ago. And then there's Iran. In November 1979, just a couple months before we hit 1980, Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took 52 Americans hostage. 52 people, just doing their jobs, suddenly prisoners. And in 1980, they're still there. Day after day after day. You can't escape it. It's on the news every night. ABC starts a late-night show called The Iran Crisis, America Held Hostage, that eventually becomes Nightline. Ted Koppel becomes the voice you associate with the crisis. Every night, day 43, day 87, day 154. The numbers just keep climbing. People tie yellow ribbons around trees, a symbol of hope that the hostages will come home. You see them everywhere. On mailboxes, lampposts, in yards. The song, "Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Old Oak Tree," becomes an unofficial anthem even though it came out years earlier. President Jimmy Carter looks tired on TV. He's doing everything he can: diplomatic pressure, negotiations, even a rescue mission that fails spectacularly in the desert and leaves 8 servicemen dead. Nothing works. The hostages stay hostage. And Americans feel helpless, angry, frustrated. Then there's the economy. Inflation is running wild, over 13% in 1980. Gas prices are insane by 1980 standards. You're paying over $1 per gallon, which doesn't sound like much now, but when you were paying 60 cents just a few years ago, it feels like highway robbery. Interest rates are through the roof. The prime rate hits 20% at one point. 20%. Good luck buying a house or a car with rates like that. Unemployment is climbing. Factories are closing. The Rust Belt is starting to rust. American cars are getting stomped by Japanese imports that are smaller, more fuel efficient, and frankly better built. The big 3 automakers, Ford, GM, Chrysler, are struggling. Chrysler is literally on the verge of bankruptcy and needs a government bailout to survive. The Soviet Union invades Afghanistan in December 1979, and that's still ongoing in 1980. The Cold War, which everyone thought might be thawing, suddenly feels very cold again. There's talk of a new arms race. President Carter boycotts the 1980 Summer Olympics in Moscow, and American athletes who've trained their whole lives don't get to compete. That hurts. So yeah, America in 1980 is not in a great mood. But here's the thing, life goes on anyway. People still go to work, raise their kids, go to the movies, fall in love, watch TV, eat dinner together. The big world events are happening, sure, but daily life keeps rolling. And actually, if you zoom in from the big scary headlines to what people are actually doing every day, 1980 is kind of fascinating. Let's talk about technology, because this is where 1980 really feels like another world. There's no internet. Zero. It exists in some form at universities and military installations, but regular people? You've never heard of it. The idea that you could have all human knowledge available instantly in your pocket would sound like science fiction. No cell phones. If you need to make a call when you're out, you find a payphone. They're everywhere, on street corners, in gas stations, outside restaurants. You pump in a dime, it'll go up to a quarter soon, and you make your call. If it's long distance, you need a pocket full of change or a calling card. If you're meeting someone somewhere, you better be on time, because there's no way to text them running late. You show up when you said you would, or they assume you're not coming. Home phones are landlines, obviously. The phone is attached to the wall in the kitchen or the hallway. If you're lucky, you might have a phone in your bedroom, but that's kind of bougie. Most families have one phone, maybe two. And everyone shares it. When it rings, it's a mystery who it's for. You pick up and say, "Hello," and hope it's for you. If it's not, you yell through the house, "Mom, phone's for you." If you're a teenager, you quickly learn to take the phone into another room, stretching that curly cord as far as it goes, cupping your hand around the receiver so your parents can't hear your conversation. Privacy is limited, but precious. Answering machines are starting to become more common, but they're expensive and kind of high-tech. They use actual cassette tapes to record messages. You come home, and there's a blinking light telling you someone called. You press play and listen to your messages on the machine's tiny speaker. No caller ID, of course. You have no idea who's calling until you pick up. Every phone call is a surprise. Could be your friend. Could be a telemarketer. Could be your grandma. You'll find out when you answer. TV is limited. You've got 3 major networks, ABC, NBC, CBS. If you're in a big city, you might get PBS and a couple of local independent stations. If you're lucky and have a good antenna, maybe you can pull in a station from a nearby city. But that's it. 5, 6, maybe 7 channels total. Cable TV exists, but it's not widespread yet. HBO launched in the 70s, but it's still relatively new. Most people don't have it. Ted Turner's CNN is about to launch in June 1980, and it's going to be revolutionary. 24-hour news. All news, all the time. People can't quite wrap their heads around it. Why would anyone need news 24 hours a day? There's no remote control for most TVs. Or if there is, it's connected to the TV with a wire. You want to change the channel? Get up and turn the dial. Volume too loud? Get up and adjust it. This is why parents assign this job to kids. Go change it to channel 7. You're the remote control. Video games exist, but they're primitive. The Atari 2600 is the hot console. You're playing games like Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Asteroids. The graphics are blocky and simple, but they're addictive as hell. You can lose hours playing these games. Arcades are huge. They're social hubs. Kids and teenagers hang out there, pumping quarters into machines, trying to get high scores. The sounds of arcades, all those beeps and boops and electronic music, that's the soundtrack of youth in 1980. Computers are just starting to enter the home, but barely. The Apple II is around, and it's getting popular with hobbyists and schools. But most people don't have a computer at home. Why would you need one? What would you even do with it? If you want to write something, you use a typewriter. An actual typewriter with keys that physically strike a ribbon against paper. When you make a mistake, you either use correction tape or, if you're fancy, correction fluid, liquid paper, or whiteout. You brush it on, blow on it to dry it faster, and type over it. Music is on vinyl records, cassette tapes, or 8 tracks, though 8 tracks are on their way out. The Sony Walkman just came out in 1979, and it's revolutionary. You can listen to music on the go. Just put a cassette in, put on your headphones, and walk around listening to your own private soundtrack. It feels like living in the future. Records are still king, though. You go to a record store, flip through albums, read the liner notes, look at the cover art. Buying an album is an event. You take it home, carefully remove the vinyl from the sleeve, place it on your turntable, drop the needle, and listen. Often, you listen to the whole album in order because getting up to skip songs is annoying. Cameras use film. You load a roll of film, 24 or 36 exposures, and you shoot your pictures. When the roll is full, you take it to a drugstore or Photoshop to get it developed. Then you wait. A few days, maybe a week. You have no idea if your pictures came out good until you get them back. Half of them are blurry or too dark or someone blinked. But the good ones go in a photo album, and that's your memory. This is life before digital, before instant, before on-demand. Everything takes time. Everything requires patience. And honestly, you don't mind because you don't know any different. Let's talk about what people are watching, listening to, and talking about in 1980. Movies are big. Going to the movies is still a major event. There are no streaming services, no video on demand. If you want to see a movie, you go to the theater. And once it leaves theaters, it's gone. You might catch it on TV years later, edited for content and interrupted by commercials, but that's it. 1980 gives us some classics. The Empire Strikes Back comes out in May, and it's massive. Everyone's talking about it. The line, "I am your father," not "Luke, I am your father," that's a Mandela effect thing, blows people's minds. Kids are playing with Star Wars action figures, wearing Star Wars t-shirts, begging their parents for Star Wars bedsheets. Airplane comes out and becomes the comedy everyone quotes. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. Pure gold. The Blues Brothers, with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. Caddyshack, with Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. 9 to 5, with Dolly Parton, Jane Fonda, and Lily Tomlin. These are the movies people are watching. TV is still the centerpiece of American entertainment. You plan your week around TV shows because if you miss an episode, you miss it. There's no DVR, no way to record it. VCRs exist but they're expensive and not common yet. You're home at 8 p.m. on Tuesday for Three's Company, or you don't see it. Dallas is huge. The whole country is obsessed with this primetime soap opera about a rich Texas oil family. And in 1980, we get one of the biggest TV moments ever. Who shot J.R.? Someone shoots J.R. Ewing in the season finale in March, and the show doesn't reveal who did it until November. 8 months of speculation. Water cooler conversations. Magazine covers. Betting pools. It's a cultural phenomenon. When the answer is finally revealed in November, 83 million people watch. 83 million. It's the second highest rated TV episode of all time. The Dukes of Hazzard is pulling in huge numbers. Everybody's got a crush on Daisy Duke or wants a car like the General Lee. The Love Boat and Fantasy Island air back-to-back on Saturday nights, and that's what you're watching. Saturday morning cartoons are sacred. Kids get up early, pour a bowl of sugary cereal, and plant themselves in front of the TV for 4 or 5 hours of straight cartoons. Super Friends, Scooby-Doo, the Bugs Bunny/Roadrunner show. No parents hovering. You're just absorbed in cartoon land. Saturday Night Live is in a weird place in 1980. The original not ready for prime time players are mostly gone. John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd left. Gilda Radner's leaving. The show's in transition, trying to figure out what it is without the original cast. Music in 1980 is all over the place, and that's what makes it interesting. Disco is dying. Like, actively dying. It was huge in the late 70s, but by 1980, there's a backlash. Rock fans hated it, and there were even disco demolition events where people literally blew up disco records. The Disco Demolition Night in Chicago in 1979 turned into a riot. So disco is out. But what's replacing it? Everything. Rock is fragmenting into different subgenres. You've got punk rock emerging from New York and London. The Clash, the Ramones, Blondie. You've got new wave starting to bubble up. Devo, the B-52s, Talking Heads. Classic rock is still massive. Pink Floyd's The Wall came out in late 1979 and it's still dominating. AC/DC releases Back in Black in 1980 after their lead singer Bon Scott dies, and it becomes one of the best-selling albums of all time. Country music is having a moment. Urban Cowboy comes out in 1980, starring John Travolta, and suddenly everyone wants to be a cowboy. People are wearing cowboy hats and boots, line dancing, going to honky-tonks. Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, they're all huge. Pop music is transitioning. Michael Jackson is about to become the biggest star on the planet, but Thriller is still a couple years away. In 1980, he's known, but he's not the king of pop yet. The top songs of 1980 are all over the place. Call Me by Blondie, Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd, Magic by Olivia Newton-John, Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen. Variety is the name of the game. MTV doesn't exist yet. It launches in August 1981. In 1980, you discover music by listening to the radio, watching shows like American Bandstand or Solid Gold, or going to record stores and taking chances on albums with cool covers. Radio is huge. Everybody has a favorite station. You listen in the car, in your bedroom on a clock radio, on a boombox while you're hanging out with friends. DJs are celebrities. They're the tastemakers, the people who introduce you to new music. What's it like to just live in 1980? You wake up to an alarm clock. Not your phone playing gentle music. A clock with actual bells that ring loud enough to wake the dead. You smack the button on top to make it stop. If it's a school day, you get dressed. Fashion in 1980 is still hanging on to the late 70s. Lots of earth tones. Brown, tan, orange, avocado green. Corduroy is everywhere. Bell-bottoms are on their way out, but straight-leg jeans are in. Brands like Levi's, Wrangler, Lee, these are what you're wearing. For girls and women, Dorothy Hamill wedge haircuts are still popular, though they're fading, and Farrah Fawcett feathered hair is still a thing. Guys have their hair longer, but not as long as the early 70s. Somewhere between your ears and shoulders. You eat breakfast. Probably cereal, Frosted Flakes, Fruit Loops, Captain Crunch, Lucky Charms. Or maybe eggs and toast. Orange juice from concentrate that your mom mixed up in a pitcher. Coffee for the adults, percolating on the stove or in an electric percolator. If you're a kid, you walk to school or take the bus. If you're lucky, your mom drives you, but that's not the default. You're expected to figure it out. And once you get to school, your parents don't know what you're doing until you come home. There's no way to check in. You're just out there on your own. School in 1980 is different. Teachers can still paddle you in many states. Corporal punishment is alive and well. You act up, you might get sent to the principal's office and get swats. Your parents probably won't even complain, they'll be mad at you for getting in trouble. Smoking sections exist in high schools. Seriously. There are designated areas where students who are 18 can legally smoke during breaks. It's wild by today's standards. Computers are just starting to show up in schools, but they're rare and kind of mysterious. If your school has a computer lab, it's probably full of Apple IIs, and you're learning basic programming or playing Oregon Trail. After school, you come home and you're on your own until dinner. This is the era of latchkey kids, kids who wear their house key on a string around their neck because both parents work or mom's busy and you let yourself in. You make a snack, watch TV, do homework, maybe, play outside. Playing outside is what kids do. You ride bikes around the neighborhood. You play pickup basketball or baseball or football in someone's yard or at the park. You build forts, climb trees, explore. Your parents have a vague idea of where you are, but they're not tracking your every move. You're just supposed to be home before the street lights come on. Dinner is at a set time, and the family eats together. This is still the norm in 1980. Dad comes home from work, everyone gathers at the table, and you eat. Meat, starch, vegetable, pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans, spaghetti with garlic bread and a salad, fried chicken with mac and cheese and corn. Fast food is a treat, not a daily thing. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, these are places you go on special occasions or when your parents don't feel like cooking. A Big Mac costs less than $1. A full meal is under $3. Going out to eat at a sit-down restaurant is an event. You get dressed up a little. You go to a place like Sizzler or Ponderosa or maybe a local family restaurant. The salad bar is a big deal. Everyone loves a good salad bar. Shopping is different. You go to actual stores. Malls are everywhere and they're thriving. On a Saturday, the mall is where teenagers hang out. You walk around, window shop, maybe catch a movie at the theater in the mall, grab some food at the food court. It's a social space. Department stores are still big. Sears, JCPenney, Montgomery Ward. You buy your clothes there, your appliances, your tools. The Sears catalog is like Amazon in print form. You can order almost anything from it, and it shows up weeks later. Grocery shopping is a weekly event. You make a list, you go to the store, you buy what you need. Everything is packaged differently. More glass bottles, more paper packaging, less plastic. You bag your own groceries or a teenager working at the store does it for you. You pay with cash or a check. Credit cards exist, but they're not as ubiquitous as they'll become. A lot of people still pay for everything with cash. You go to the bank to cash your paycheck, and you carry cash in your wallet. The bank is only open during business hours, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, maybe a half day on Saturday. If you need cash after hours, too bad. Wait until Monday. ATMs are just starting to appear, but they're not everywhere yet. If you need information, you look it up. Encyclopedia Britannica on the bookshelf. The dictionary. The phone book. You call the library. You ask someone who knows. You can't just Google it. If you're bored, you find something to do. Read a book. Call a friend and talk on the phone for an hour. Watch TV. Go outside. Play a board game, Monopoly, Scrabble, Clue. Make up games with your siblings. Life is slower. Less instant. You wait for things. You have to plan ahead. But there's also less noise, less constant stimulation. When you're doing something, you're doing that thing. You're not also checking your phone, scrolling social media, getting notifications. You're just present. 1980 is an election year, and it's a big one. Jimmy Carter is running for re-election, but he's in trouble. His approval ratings are terrible. The economy is a mess. The hostage crisis makes him look weak. People are frustrated and want change. The Republican primary is crowded. Ronald Reagan is running, the former governor of California, former actor, conservative icon. George H.W. Bush is running. So is John Anderson. It's competitive. Reagan wins the nomination pretty handily. He picks Bush as his running mate, which surprises some people because they didn't like each other during the primaries. John Anderson decides to run as an independent, which makes things interesting. He's a moderate Republican who thinks both parties are too extreme. He appeals to some independents and college students. The general election campaign is fascinating. Reagan is 69 years old, which makes him the oldest person ever to run for president at the time. Some people worry he's too old. But he's got this folksy charm, this optimism, this ability to communicate that connects with people. He talks about morning in America. about restoring American greatness, about getting the government off people's backs and letting the free market work, about standing strong against the Soviets. Carter is painted as weak, ineffective, a nice guy who's in over his head. It's not entirely fair, but perception matters more than reality in politics. There's a debate in October, and Reagan has this moment that defines the campaign. Carter is attacking Reagan's positions, making him sound radical and dangerous. And Reagan just smiles, shakes his head, and says, "There you go again." It's dismissive, but gentle. It makes Carter look like he's exaggerating, being unfair. Reagan also asks Americans a simple question: are you better off than you were 4 years ago? For most people, the answer is no. The economy is worse. Inflation is higher. Gas costs more. The world feels more dangerous. That question resonates. Election day is November 4th, 1980. And it's not close. Reagan wins in a landslide. 489 electoral votes to Carter's 49. It's a repudiation of Carter and a mandate for change. Let's talk about how people look and what's cool in 1980. Fashion is in transition. The 70s style is fading, but the 80s haven't fully kicked in yet. You're seeing the last gasps of disco fashion: tight pants, platform shoes, polyester shirts with big collars. But that's on its way out. Preppy is starting to become a thing. The official Preppy handbook comes out in 1980, and suddenly everyone wants to look like they go to an Ivy League school. Polo shirts, khakis, boat shoes, sweaters tied around shoulders. Brands like Lacoste, Izod, Ralph Lauren. For women, power dressing is emerging. Women are entering the corporate world in larger numbers, and they're dressing the part. Shoulder pads are coming. Blazers, blouses, pencil skirts. The idea is to look professional, authoritative, equal to men. Jeans are the go-to casual wear. Levi's 500 ones are classic. Designer jeans are becoming huge: Jordache, Gloria Vanderbilt, Calvin Klein. "Nothing comes between me and my Calvins," says Brooke Shields in a controversial ad. People lose their minds over it. Hair is big and getting bigger. Feathered hair is still in. Hairspray is your friend. Perms are popular. Big, curly, voluminous hair. You tease it, spray it, make it as big as possible. For guys, mustaches are in. Lots of mustaches. Tom Selleck's Magnum PI mustache becomes iconic. If you're a guy in 1980, there's a good chance you've got a mustache. Glasses are huge. Like, the frames are literally huge. Oversized glasses are fashionable. Aviator sunglasses, made popular by pilots and then by movies, are everywhere. Workout culture is starting to explode. Jane Fonda's workout videos are about to become massive. Jogging is becoming a thing. People are running for exercise, wearing short shorts and headbands, looking like they're training for a marathon even if they're just going around the block. Sneakers are transitioning from purely functional to fashionable. Nike is growing. The running shoe boom is happening. Soon, people will be buying sneakers just to wear them, not to work out in. So there you have it. Life in the USA in 1980. A time when you had to be patient because nothing was instant. When you had to plan ahead because you couldn't just Google the answer or text your friend. When entertainment meant gathering around a TV at a specific time or going to a physical place to see a movie. A time when the economy was struggling, when America was trying to find its footing after a rough decade, when people were frustrated but hopeful that things could get better. A time when technology was simpler, life was slower, and people were more present. Not because they were better or wiser, but because they didn't have a choice. There were no devices to distract them. Just the world right in front of them. Was it better than now? I don't know. It was different. There were things they had that we've lost: patience, presence, community. And there are things we have now that they couldn't imagine: instant communication, unlimited information, medical advances that save millions of lives. But understanding how they lived helps us understand ourselves. We're shaped by where we came from. The choices they made, the world they built, that's the world we inherited. 1980 wasn't that long ago. Just 44 years. There are millions of people alive today who remember it vividly. It's living memory. But it's also a different world, a different America. And maybe that's worth remembering. How much can change in just a few decades? How quickly the world we know can become history. Thanks for taking this trip with me. For stepping back into 1980 and seeing what it was really like. I hope you learned something. I hope you felt something. I hope you'll remember that the past is never as simple as we think, and the people who lived through it were just as complex, just as human as we are today. Take care. And remember, we're living in someone else's history right now. 46 years from now, people will look back at 2026 the same way we're looking back at 1980. Wild, right?